It's time for Street Talk, your voice and your views on the issues in the news. Our discussion with NATO Secretary General Jaap De Hoop Scheffer last week generated a huge viewer response. The North Atlantic Treaty Organization was founded by Western nations after World War II to provide a military pact against the Soviet bloc. Well, the Cold War's long over, but Scheffer still believes NATO has a major role to play in the global arena. For example, Afghanistan, where he defended NATO's presence.
We are not involved in any way in what should be and could be a political process in Afghanistan. We are protecting people. We are protecting people against those radicals, those spoilers, who do not want to see development in Afghanistan, who would not want to see progress, but who kill.
Not everyone defends NATO. For example, Abdurrahim Mukhtar from South Africa, who believes it should no longer exist. I think it's time to disband the alliance, for it has only transformed from traditional alliance of greedy and self-righteous nations to an extension of the American Marines. Forget about Afghanistan. You utterly failed, Mr. Secretary. Another message came in from Samir in Beirut in Lebanon, who doesn't understand how the alliance chooses its battles. Why Afghanistan and not the Democratic Republic of the Congo or Darfur? Aren't there more people dying in those conflicts? Ahmed in Saudi Arabia is also critical of NATO, saying it's very selective in where it offers help. What about protecting the Palestinian people from brutality and freeing them from their occupiers? Why single out Afghanistan for this noble task? Well, after watching the show with Mr. Scheffer, Arfan in the UK wrote in to say, organizations such as NATO and the UN are useless because the United States always gets its way. But Pashtun in Kandahar in Afghanistan believes that NATO's presence in his country is seriously needed and suggests the following. My advice to NATO is to concentrate more on reconstruction projects and local governance in the south, where they face a colossal increase in insurgent activities rather than combat operations. Well, thanks for your comments on our shows. Do keep those coming in. Now on to Russia, which suffers from a demographic crisis so dire that its population could shrink by half in the next 50 years. Last month, the Russian government even gave everyone a day off to stay home and make babies. But in Siberia, one woman's more than making up for the population decline. Tatiana Barabavona gave birth to a 12th child and was stunned to find that little Nadia weighed in at a massive 7.75 kilograms, or 17 pounds. Nadia was delivered by cesarean section in the local maternity hospital in the Altai region and joins 8 sisters and 3 brothers. 43-year-old Tatiana said she and her husband were shocked at how large Nadia was, though all of her other children have been born over 5 kilograms as well. She said she hadn't eaten a special diet while pregnant. It was mostly potatoes, noodles and tomatoes. Though how much of each? Staying on the subject of unusual births, a pet store in Pennsylvania in the US is showing off its newest and most bizarre acquisition, a tiny turtle born with 2 heads. It has 4 front legs, 2 back legs and a combined shell and tail. Unlike some 2-headed creatures, the heads are not side by side, but at opposite sides of the shell. The turtle's owner said that although the heads seem to be independent, they managed to cooperate. The owner acquired the turtle from a collector in Florida, but doesn't plan to sell it. Instead, he'll keep it to attract customers to his store. Well, from time to time, we like to give you a reality check here on Street Talk. And what better way than to remind you of the challenge facing commuters in some parts of the world. Here, for example, is an average day for commuters trying to catch a train in Mumbai, India. Mind the gap, if you can even find one. That's it until next time. Do keep sending in your questions and comments and pointers to anything interesting or amusing for Street Talk. Remember, what you see here isn't necessarily the view of Al Jazeera, and some of the content's been edited, but for time and space reasons only. And that's the talk on the street.